Eric Schmitt didn't hesitate to set the record straight. Take a look.
For today's hearing, they have chosen to ignore the hearing as they chose to ignore President Biden's mental decline, but we do have a short video.
During a Senate hearing on President Biden's mental acuity, Democrat lawmakers were a no-show. That's why the congressman played a series of clips, exposing just how far they've gone to cover it up.
Of some previous statements from Biden administration officials and Democrat Party officials telling us not to believe our lying eyes. We can play the video.
And today, we're breaking it all down because we're not here to follow parties blindly. We're here for common sense. So, if you're an independent thinker, hit the subscribe button and let's jump right into it.
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. You know, I can't even keep up with it.
The most difficult part about a meeting with President Biden is preparing for it, because he is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
I can testify because I've been working very closely with this president for the past 2 years. I've been knowing him for 30 years. And I'm telling you, this guy's tough. He's smart. He's on his game.
Joe Biden has vision. He has knowledge. He has a strategic thinker.
The president is focused. He's detail-oriented. He's always thinking about the big picture.
So he has a vision. He has knowledge. He has judgment. He has a strategic thinking.
I met with the president, 5 or 6 weeks ago, and he seemed fine to me.
It's crazy that an entire party would go to such lengths to cover something like this up. It borders on elder abuse, all for the sake of holding onto power. As mentioned earlier, Democrats boycotted this particular hearing. In response, Senator Schmitt presented a montage of their own past statements. And honestly, it was far more effective than bringing in endless witnesses who dodge questions and waste everyone's time. The video laid it all out. And if you remember, at some point, Democrats stopped focusing on Biden being so energetic and shifted the framing of his age as a sign of wisdom and experience, which was also included in Eric's video.
Incredibly sharp, incredibly probing, incredible command of the details.
He is sharp. He is on top of things.
There is nothing to these challenges, these suggestions that somehow he's not sharp and he's not capable.
We see Joe Biden up close. We know how attuned he is to the issue.
And you're going to see how smart he is and the experience he has.
I say his age is an asset.
Aha! He's wise.
Yes, he's wise. He has wisdom. He has experience.
And his experience, because of his age and his wisdom, has been invaluable to this country.
A lot of countries, people who've been in office a longer period of time are praised for their wisdom.
I have seen a lot of 72-year-olds not as capable as this 80-year-old.
It is hard for us to keep up with this president.
His mental acuity is great. It's fine. It's as good as it's been over the years. He's fine. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong.
And this kind of sense that he's not ready for this job is just a bucket of BS.
Now, here's where things get interesting. There's also a House investigation over the use of the autopen, and they had Karine Jean-Pierre appear before the Oversight Committee to testify. According to reports, she admitted that, quote, Biden is not the same speaker as when she first met him. And she also noted, quote, information regarding his health and mental acuity was handled exclusively at the senior level. But perhaps the most eye-opening testimony came from Ian Sams, the White House spokesman. He revealed that over the course of 2 years in that role, he spoke with the former president only twice. That's highly unusual. After playing the clips, Schmitt turned to Sean Spicer, who was witness during his hearing, asking him about the role of the media in this cover-up. But before we play that, we have a quick message for you. Did you know the biggest threat to your retirement is not something that's talked about often? Our increased longevity in America means default retirement accounts like IRAs, 401ks, and TSPs may not suffice. If you have over $100,000 in your retirement account, get instant access to a free 2-minute report from Augusta Precious Metals that reveals the one step you can take to secure your financial future. Visit freedomforgold.com, that's freedomforgold.com, or text freedom to 35052 today. Now, back to the video.
But the media is so desperate to make sure President Trump never got back into office. Of course, you saw the lawfare that took place, but then, of course, this narrative that Joe Biden was fine, don't believe your lying eyes, until that they couldn't deny it anymore based on the debate. Could you just kind of compare that to your experience when you were, press secretary for President Trump, to sort of the inquiries that were made daily about his mental acuity versus the inability to do that during the 4 years under Joe Biden?
Senator, in many cases, there was no inquiry. They would just run with a story, having guests on that would question his physical or mental acuity, speculate on it, bring guests on that would speculate it. We would often then push back on those kind of stories. That's in vast contrast to the lack of any kind of curiosity that existed throughout the 4 years of President Biden. And I think the difference was they would seize on the simplest thing with President Trump, whereas in President Biden's case, there was multiple issues. With Biden, my understanding from the conversations that I would have with the media is they would never ask. They just literally were basically afraid to go there.
Now, I'm not sure if we can call it fear, but Spicer is absolutely right. One example of this is CNN's Jake Tapper, who basically scolded Lara Trump during an interview back in 2020 for simply suggesting that Biden was showing signs of cognitive decline. Rather than engaging with the substance of her comments, Tapper accused her of mocking Biden's lifelong stutter, an excuse that was rarely brought up afterwards. Fast forward a few years, and Jake himself ended up releasing a book that addressed the cover-up surrounding Biden's condition and publicly apologized to Lara. But the way his political leanings clouded his critical thinking goes to show how deep that denial ran.
Given sort of the role that you played in trying to provide more transparency of what happened during the 4 years under Joe Biden, who was running the country under Joe Biden? Let's just take the last 2 years.
It's a great question, Senator, and at some level, I'm not the right witness for this hearing. There should be members of the media here, maybe some of your Senate colleagues who had known the president over the years and obviously had close proximity during the time of his administration, and obviously his staff. If the Biden administration staffers and personnel wanted to put this to bed, they could very easily dispel all of this by saying, here are the documents that show the president assented to these actions. The Trump administration would have that. Previous administrations would have that. And if that's not there, then there is cause to improve the way that executive branch employees authenticate actions undertaken by the president.
Yeah.
This hearing took place in June of this year. And since then, we've learned through leaked memos and internal communications that Biden may not have approved all the uses of the autopen, particularly with the pardons issued during the last couple of months of his term. And if we take Jake Tapper at his word, even he's describing the situation as resembling Politburo, where a tight-knit group of unelected people were running the show from behind the scenes. To wrap things up, we have Senator Schmitt presenting his key takeaways, and he made some valid points.
President actually performing the functions of president is kind of an important thing in our constitutional order. You had, kings used to affix their seal to show that this was an official declaration from the sovereign in this country. The sovereign are the people. They delegate, the authority to their elected representatives. And as you mentioned in your opening statement, there's only one person elected by everybody. So that signature, this is not just a small point, that signature issuing a pardon for someone who'd been convicted of a crime, or in the case of Joe Biden, these preemptive pardons, which are sort of unprecedented, is a big deal. And I think that's part of the reason why we're here today.
Exactly. The American people deserve full transparency about what unfolded over the past 4 years. These events set a troubling precedent and carry serious implications, not just for accountability, but for the future of constitutional authority and how executive power is exercised. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, keep thinking.